For me, being in Cuba was not only a spiritual journey, but an emotional journey. Going to Cuba was such an eye-opening, transformative experience for me because I was allowed to be Ianthe. I was allowed to be Ianthe in Cuba. I was allowed to be Afro-Latina Ianthe. He was like, you look Cuban. You look so Cuban. Like, you know, everyone said I look Cuban. Even the hotel staff was confused. The cab drivers were confused. And I wore my hair in this wrap. And so wearing that was me just being lazy, but also expressing my African and being in tune and in touch with that. And it was so beautiful to be in Cuba and to see how in tune people are with their African side, because a lot of the times that's hidden in America. It comes out in spurs, but there it's so accepted, and people really accept they're African. They really accept it. They accept the fact that, yeah, we're Cuban, but we're also African. And it was beautiful to be accepted. A memory that I remember is when we were in La Habana. It was one of our few almost into last days in La Habana, and we met with Gloria, and she was an Afro-Latina, Afro-Cuban filmmaker.
So I started making my own films in 1990 was when I made Ogun, dedicated to the Orisha. Are you familiar with the word of the Orisha? Well, I decided to start with something that it was close to my life, to my community. And I want to make an homage to the people that practice the religion and show the dignity and how, in spite of all the difficulties, prejudice, racism that exists before, is something that is still alive. So for that reason, the name of my first film is Ogun, Forever Present, because it's something that is still alive.
It was a documentary that she had allowed us to be a part of and allowed us to see and watch. And it was about what, African Cubans had to go through in the past, especially before Castro, and even now, and how the discussion of race is there, but it's not really a discussion. People kind of don't talk about it. And it was beautiful to meet with her because she told me something so powerful, something so profound. She looked at me and she told me, the ancestors brought you here and you're here for a reason. It was just such an amazing thing for her to say that to me, because what she was telling me was someone is before you is here. And I think about the slave trade and I don't romanticize it, but it did happen. And I think about families that were torn apart and who will never know that they are family. And when I got there, when I was in Cuba, I felt like that was my family. And I felt like anyone that I saw who, whether they had my skin color or my skin tone or not, I felt a communal sense of family. It made me not only feel like I was a part of this culture and this community, but I was at home. I was at home. I was at peace. I felt loved. I ran into so many Cubans who were excited to see me, excited that I was there, excited about my skin color. We went to a CDR, which is it's like keep the revolution alive, keep it going. And what they do at these CDRs is make sure that the community of Cuba is engaged in politics. They're engaged in the election. They know what's going on. And so every, community has one. and we went to go celebrate that with them.
Disfrutar
So we're all
todo lo
here
que
just to
ocurre en
share
nuestros barrios
and to know what happens in the neighborhood.
de manera cotidiana, pero hoy un día especial.
So they will tell you what happens here every day, but today is a special day.
Gracias por estar aquí con
Thank you
nosotros
for coming here and being with
y a
us.
compartir
And let's
con todos
just
los que
share
están.
and then talk and mingle.
Y'all cute. Say hey, say hey. Oh, hola. Oh, hola. Say hey. Yeah. Oh, no way. No, hola.
Se la acaba porque se la mierda.
And it was such an honor to be there, and this was in Santiago de Cuba. So we went late at night. It was like a block party, and we stopped and we bought rum and cookies, which is an interesting combination, rum and cookies. So we went there and we're celebrating with them, and you have this in Santiago de Cuba. It's like a vast amount of Afro-Cubans. Like there's a larger percent. That's the more like Caribbean of the area. So even in the music, even we went to go hear some performers. Them dance and hear them play. Very African, and majority of the population, like they are like Black Cubans, like that's what you see. And that is where I met Abuelito Victor. And Victor was such a character, so funny. I remember him looking at me and he goes, the black is good, no? And I was like, see? And he was like, see? He was like, me, at 68. I was like, oh, no. And he's like, see? The black is good. So I started talking to him, and he was so, just such a sweet man, like telling me about his daughters and what they do, asking me where I'm from. I showed him a picture of my mom and dad, and he was like, whoa, they look so good. Just amazing for him to be, so open and so willing to accept and just truly excited. And I'll never forget, he wanted to take a picture, and he said, we're gonna take a picture. I don't want you to forget me. And I'm just like, Victor, how could I forget you? It was just so much love. Oh my gosh. Like, it's gonna make me cry because but it was just so much love there. I felt so much love there. And I just can't express enough. And it came from everybody, even from Cal, our tour guide. It came from /historian / doctorate candidate. It came from the lady in Santiago de Cuba at our San Jose, the hotel. What we need to remember is when we're getting our professions, we're getting our master's degrees, and we're going into these fields, like keep the humanistic perspective at all times. That's what Cuba taught me. That's what this trip taught me, is because of this blockade and the visa process, Cubans have to go from Cuba to Mexico just to get a visa, just to and if they're living on the average salary in Cuba is $20 a month. So if that's all they're living on, how can they travel from Cuba to Mexico, pay for the visa, hope they get it, but there's no guarantee that they're gonna get that visa, and they have to come back. if in the visa process, if someone said, well, this is hard for them, let's not make it that hard. If there was an ounce of humanity and humanism inside of that, they wouldn't be going through that. That blockade wouldn't be there. But it's about money. It's about you bending to what I want you to do. And in your degree field, whatever you get, whatever you decide to go with, think of the people that you're serving. Be a human for a second. And show them love, show them grace, show them mercy. And that's what I got from Cuba. Now I know what Celia meant when she said, Cuando salí de Cuba, that song. I get it. I completely get it. The beaches, the ocean, the children, the men, the food, the spirit, the soul, the passion, the vibrancy, just all of these beautiful things coming together and you not being a part of it because you're not there. Cuando salí de